Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 265 of NoCoders Office Hours. I'm your host, Tanya. We're here with our members, Dingo and John. We're going to get started in just a moment. If this is your first time tuning into Office Hours, though, we do this Zoom session 6 times per week, and we invite our members on and they can ask us any questions they want about Bubble or no code in general. We try to get them answered. So if you would like to join us and ask your questions, please go to pronocoders.com and sign up as soon as possible. Hi, Stinko, you were here first, so do you have questions for today?
I do, but yeah, I can go ahead with John. Last time he extended me the courtesy. I'd like to do the same for him, if you don't mind.
I don't mind. John, how about you? Do you have questions?
Yeah, I'll go with the quick one first then. So let me share my screen. Hold on a minute. So my cunning plan about the date picker thing has got slightly less cunning. Let me pick this. So on this page, which is just a test page, I have got the, let me get that out of the way. I have got, this working, so you can pick your dates and all that sort of stuff, and it spits them out here. That works fine. And what it does is you drag the element onto the page, which is this, so it's invisible, and then you set all your options and stuff. But what it does is the plugin automatically spits out its own what do you want to call it, custom state. So that date range pickers a start date blah 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 is a custom state that the plugin itself sets. So that works fine here, and I can access that date range picker A. But if you remember, in here, which is my header, I've got it as a reusable element, and it is the reusable element that's causing me a problem. So you can see here, you've got these. So that's the date range picker, and that's me dropping the plugin in here. So this is working basically exactly the same as the test page. But when I then want to use this, so let's say I'm on this test lift shifter page, and I want to go in and try and get that custom state, it won't let me do it.
Right, because it's not on a...
Yeah. So the question is, how do I access the custom state when it's in a reusable element like that? Or is that...
Sure.
All right,
do you mind if I take over?
Go for it.
I'll pop in. Oh. All right. What's the name of your app again? I might be able to bypass
SEO console. That's it.
There we go. That's always faster than searching through it. Oh, I got an email from I forget his name.
Ollie.
The one you said, yeah, Ollie. Okay.
Yeah.
I got that email. I'm going to respond to him a little later.
Cool. Okay.
So we're going into.
So it's floating group header.
This one. Okay.
And then
essentially what we want to do is on this reusable, we have these the date range here, which is date range number. Okay.
Yeah, they're the ones we created last time when we were doing it the old way.
So we're going to start here with the start date and of type date. And then we're going to have another one called end date and of type date. Okay. Now I'm just thinking here, if you when you change it, we'll have to have a workflow for it as well. But essentially on page load, we're setting these states here. So what we want it to do is stay synced with the plugins state. So which when it first loads will be like you have defaults, right?
Yes, but they all come from the plugin.
But all the defaults and stuff come in from the plugin?
Yeah.
Okay, so so the start date is going to be, and then what's the plugin? The date rangers.
Yeah, that's it.
Start
That's
date.
it. Yeah.
And then the end date will be the date range, a picker's end date, like that.
Yeah.
And then what we need to do is have a do when. So, or when an input value is changed here. So when and it's not letting me pick that as an input.
Pick the.
So,
is it not that
is
drop
it it's the drop down? Okay.
I think so. Trouble is, I've got two of them, so it might get a bit complicated.
Yeah. So then what we do whenever that changes, we don't have to worry about every time. So whenever that changes, we're going to change the floating group's start date again to equal that, and the end date to equal that. See if that works.
Okay.
So then your references on the page are going to be to the floating group header start date and end date.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. The other way then, so seeing how you've done that, the other way I might be able to do it then is instead of dropping the plugin into where the group is for the actual date picker, because it doesn't really matter where I drop that in some sense. So I could probably just drop the plugin into the header rather than into the group that's inside the header. And that might just output the custom states for me anyway, if that makes sense.
Say it one more time.
So if you go back to the float, so go to the design tab. So if you go into the elements tree and go to group top bar, expand that, and then go to GSC header filters, just select that, any of them, yeah. Then what you'll see is that where it says no, that's the actual plugin. And it's inside that group, which is GSC header filters. What I could do is...
Yeah, that's not... Oh, go ahead. You could put that...
into the header.
No, so it doesn't really work that way. So it has its own states. So you can't automatically, like, you can't set the states. This will have its own states no matter what. The problem is that the page, so your test list shifter page here, does not have access to anything inside of the header it states. It only has access to this thing's states itself.
Right.
So you wouldn't need to move this. The way that we have it set right now is the way to do that.
Right.
Is the way to transfer that information.
Okay, cool. All right, I'll have a play with that. Thank you.
Yeah. No problem. Hi, Stanko, it's your turn.
All right. Should I share my screen?
Yep, go for it.
All right. So here, let me look at the editor. Here we have a group assigned to, a group load at, and also deliver to. These groups contain multi drop downs, actually. So they contain in each group, and they're similarly the same. So let's only talk about this assign group. The other ones, well, if we figure this one out, the other ones we'll figure out later. So the drop down is the first drop down selects whether the other three drop downs are visible or not, based on whether it's a job site, a dump site, or a material site. And then so here there are three drop downs right behind each other, stacked on top of each other, and they're visible based on whatever we choose in the first drop down.
Okay.
All right, so let's go back to the page dispatch, and this is how we select and then save the dispatch information as to whether a user is assigned to a job site, a dump site, or a material site. They can only be assigned to one of them at one time, and I need the rest of them to be empty. This works when, let me show you an example. So let's say 1:15 and time 1:30, and they pick a job site, for example, this one. They choose the material, and they load at material site now, let's say, and they bring back to the same job site, which is doable. And they pick a truck, and this brings up a repeating group of dispatch, a list of dispatches. So this here is a job site they've been assigned to. Here, this option, right? Here is the material coming from this drop down. Lafarge here is the material site that at load at that was chosen, and then deliver to is this, comes through this drop down here. Now, this all works fine, and we can then edit the dispatch where we can edit this and update the dispatch later if we want to change it. Now, the problem is this works fine as long as they only pick the first time, and they do not
they don't switch.
They don't switch, right? This is what I found out over the weekend as I enrolled another user on. So, so then the value in the database, let me quickly show you the value. So related A means assigned, which has three values. As you can see, this has been done correctly. It has saved only one of those three drop downs that are stacked on top of each other. If so, the problem is the user now. Let's say that let's save another dispatch for one. If the user, for example, changes his mind and instead of a job site, he wants to do a dump site, or he goes even to a material site and chooses an option. This will save, I did a test here. This will save all these three values, in fact, instead of only one. And this is a problem for me because then then
The data gets corrupted.
the data is all corrupted, yes, and then when I edit here, or when the user edits here, it does not show the right one. It shows only the last one that was kind of selected, or it will, if it was a job site, you can change the job site, or if it was a dump site, only those ones, it will change. But as soon as this was changed to something else, this will stay as whatever it was originally in the first. Yeah.
Well, let's fix that. Why don't you go ahead and go to your editor.
Okay.
And go to the first drop down, whether it's like a job site or a dump site or a material site, the assigned to. Exactly.
Right.
All right. So now what we want to do is if you're in that drop down and pull up the element editor. Yep, you had it. That's right. The dark one. Yep. So you'll notice, like on these drop downs or whatever, there's no place where you can start or edit a workflow, which is actually a little deceiving, I found, because if you right click on that, on the actual input on the page, so go to where it says choose and right click.
Okay.
And then you can, at the bottom, you can start edit a workflow.
Oh, there it is. I see. Okay.
I know, it's such a pain. I don't know why they do that. But if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, what you're going to see is when the drop down's value is changed. Now what you want to do is you want to clear out like the relevant inputs, right? Okay. So when it's changed, you want to change the you want to target maybe even a group that's set around the other drop down. You want to clear anything out that's already been put in there, right? So you can, so if we go back to design right now for a moment.
There's nothing in the scope on this one, but there is parent groups dispatch is in the pop-up when we press edit, yeah. But in this one, there should not be, in this group assigned has no content or data source.
Right, exactly. So, but what I'm saying is we want to, so that second drop down, is there just one other drop down, or are there two other drop downs?
There are three.
There's three drop downs. Okay. So yeah, so what we want to do is when you change the input where it says choose, then you want to clear the inputs, the other three inputs below it, the other three.
All right.
So what we
okay.
And the way to do that is you can try reset relevant inputs, but my guess is that it will probably clear out things that you don't want to clear out. Instead, it probably makes sense to put those three other drop downs in a group and reset that group.
Or reset the group.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. And just then, reset the group when okay.
Do you want me to prototype this so you can see how it would work?
I would. I'm yes.
Okay, sure. Yeah, no problem.
If you don't mind, yes.
Yep, no problem. Let me.
Did you want me to stop sharing?
Gives me an excuse to use our new sandbox that we have.
Oh,
I just made it this morning.
Okay.
It's like making a snow angel in the new snow. Let's see. So I don't think I even finished. Yeah, it's blank. Go to my index here. Have you ever made one page the index and deprecated the old index? I have so rarely done that, but in this case, it made sense to do. Because you can make any of your pages the index and it will deprecate the old index for you.
Right, I've done that, and then I've had numerous problems with them. I
Oh yeah, the
don't
Bubble loves to get upset when we push its limits for sure.
know.
Okay, resetting. So I'm going to have one drop down here,
Mhm.
and then I'm going to have three more.
Right.
So 1, 2, 3. So just so you know, there is a world in which you refactor your app so that you only had 2 of these, right? But it's okay. The way that you have it now will work fine. It's always like, it's just something that you could do in the future is you could refactor to have less elements, which is something we talk about whenever we're building apps, is making as few elements as possible.
Sure.
So what I'm recommending here is that we put a workflow on this one.
Mhm.
And if we say reset inputs, relevant inputs here.
Right.
So if I come in to this and I say my static choices 1, 2, or 3.
Right.
And I preview this, I need to test and see if it will take the change that I've made or if it's going to reset it because I said to reset everything.
Okay.
All right, so let's go in here and say, let's just use names. Callum, because he just got here, John, and go. Oh, it's with a Z. Go. And then this will be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This will be.
I want to tell you what capital letters are, Tonya.
What? I abandoned them. I abandoned my capital letters for this experiment. All right, so I'm going to make some choices here.
Mhm.
Right, and now I'm going to change this, and it
Right.
didn't do anything, right?
Yep.
So reset relevant inputs isn't going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to draw a group around these.
Right.
And I'm going to try instead on this workflow here, I'm going to try resetting the group.
Data. Yeah.
So then I'm going to have here. And that seems to be working. So I choose one here and then make some choices here, and then I make another choice and it clears out the others when I make that choice.
All right, but it will clear out all of them though.
Well, and you wanted to, because when you change it, you want to clear it out because you want them to select again.
Okay, all right. And then once it's selected, I do need that value to be saved, only the selected.
Right, and it will be, because it'll just stay there unless you change it again, it'll stay there.
Perfect, yeah, let me try that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, let me try that.
Sure.
I hope that works. Yeah, great.
Me too.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thanks a lot, appreciate it.
Hey, Callum, how's it going?
It's good. Have you seen the update to the plugins? How quickly it loads.
Yes, I have been very impressed, but also kind of just like a little bit like, really?
It
took you that long?
Yeah, I mean, it's shit that it took them that long, but it works. Finally, it doesn't crash my computer every time I try and look for a plugin.
It does. Well, and here you can see why it was breaking it, because that was only at like, it was only like 20. Yeah, there are more plugins now than there were the other day.
Oh, are there?
50, yeah. Well, I always thought they should just start you up without anything checked.
There's less plugins than there were before.
No, they're more now. So it was like getting worse all the time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But
Sweet.
I did notice that. Thank you, Bubble. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Do you have anything for today? Do you have any questions or need anything?
I've done it again. I did have something, but I've forgotten it. So no, I mean, I'd really just came to say hi.
Well, hello.
John's
How about
speaking,
you?
but he's forgotten that he's on mute. He's still on
We,
mute.
we can't hear you, John. Do you have anything, John?
I've found the mute button.
Oh, good.
How was your trip to Edinburgh?
Yeah, it was good fun actually.
Cold enough for you?
Well, funny enough, it snowed in London after. Sorry, it snowed in Edinburgh the night before I got there.
Yeah.
I then went to Edinburgh. It was bright sunshine. It then snowed in London while I was there, and then I left, and then it snowed in Edinburgh. So, yeah,
you timed that right.
Yeah, weird weather, but yeah, no, it's good. The hotel was amazing. Loved it there.
Where did you stay?
The Bonham.
Oh right, yeah, nice.
Yeah, no, it's lovely there, and went out for some drinks and some dinner in the evening. But yeah, no, all in all, a good trip, other than the ridiculously early start in the morning.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Where did you fly from? Did you fly from City or?
Oh God, no, from Heathrow.
Right.
The guy was like, "Oh yeah, no, there's no flights from City," and then we checked like in the morning. We're like, "There is a flight from City. It's a lot quicker. It'd have been a lot quicker for us to get there." And there were also flights flying back into City, but instead we had to drive. So yeah. But no, just but the flight back was a bit delayed because they basically just do shuttle runs, don't they? It's the same plane all day, but just goes back and forward, back and forward. So if there's been a delay earlier in the day, it just like every single flight is delayed. But yeah, no, it was good. Also flew over Silverstone on the way back as well, which is pretty cool to see. Got a nice couple of pictures of it on the way out the plane window, which is awesome. But
all in all, good. About flying over beautiful Scotland and the Forth and stuff. You were more interested in taking photos of flying over a racetrack.
I mean, what Scotland? Just a load of hills with a bit of snow on top of them. That's all there, really. The occasional castle and a lot of ginger people.
Wow. Okay.
Sorry, Tanya, we've gone off track.
It's okay. It's bonding. It's office hours bonding. Do you have any more questions, John? I think you started with an easier one.
Yeah. So let me share my screen. Where's my thing? Right. I take it you can see my free cycle post. Right. The next one was how to approach this. So I'm redoing this page because if you remember, I've now cracked the keys problem. So this repeating group here is the new version of this one up here, but using the new plugin. So that works fine. But if you remember, if I go to preview a minute, if the API is still working. Yeah, so if you remember, what I want to do is, going back to the old one, is this is the last 30 days with the data, and then this is the prior 30 days with the data, let's call it. I mean, it's actually 7 days, isn't it? But it doesn't matter. And what I want to do is say, okay, I don't really want this old repeating group here. This is just for demo. What I want to do is say, okay, if this query here in the 30 days data matches the query here in the prior 30 days data, give me the effectively the difference in rank between this rank and this rank, which in that case happens to be the same. So I probably need to do some sort of merged with or intersects with or whatever. But I was playing with it briefly earlier and couldn't make head and tail of it. So this is the new one, and it comes from one of my multitude of list shifters. So you've got this, which goes off and gets the last, let's call that the most recent 30 days of data for a minute. What I want to do is say, it goes in here, and then something like intersect with, and then the same thing again. So Google Search Console, get keywords, but this time the date would, let's say, be the 12th and to the 1st, so the month prior, just for argument's sake, and do that, and rows. So that's now effectively the new data and the old data intersected with each other. And I'm not sure if intersect or merge with is quite the right way of doing it, or I'm not sure that this is the right approach, full stop. And then in here, so this is the, I think, 30 days worth of data. In here, what I want to do is go in and say, right, basically sort of do that match to say, well, okay, if this keyword from the latest data matches the keyword from the oldest data, give me the rank difference, if that makes any sense at all.
Okay, so at first, so in the first repeating groups, we're just talking about URLs, or are we're just talking right now, we've changed from URLs and we're talking about keywords altogether?
No,
because we did something similar to this already, right? Where we were grabbing and showing the difference.
That was on pages.
Okay,
so,
on pages, right? Okay.
So on your URLs, let's call it, that was in here, and we did that. And I was thinking about this earlier. I was wondering if there's a way of doing it with having loads of different lists on. So we did this here, where we got this working, and we did it via. I think we merged one of these somewhere. Here we go. So we did list shifters pages latest original list merged with list shifters keywords greater than. So what I was doing is I was using list shifter to give me two lists, which may be the way I have to do it this time, which is to just have yet more list shift. So this list shifter gets the latest dates, this list shifter gets the old ones, and then you just merge them together. And that's how we did the pages one. So that might be the way to do it, but it's effectively, yeah.
And then show me where we're showing the difference. Go into one of the
so on here,
the change.
Repeating group, get pages greater than 30, listed, get rows, filtered.
Yeah, we were filtering.
Items, position, bloody, blah, parent groups, blah, blah, blah. So I could copy this approach now that I've solved the keys problem. I could do it this way.
Right. I think that's the same approach that I would do.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a shame you can't do it sort of all in one, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I mean, it is. I think that's just the literalness of these things, like programming and stuff. You just have to spell it out.
Yeah. All right. I'll have a play with repeating this approach, but on the other page where we're talking about keywords, and we'll go from there. I'm going to end up with lots of list shifters everywhere. I think be interested to see what. So far, I've not noticed any real issue with performance using this many list shifters, but we'll see if it grinds to a halt at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as you're using like pagination, right, and you're not showing all of the results or thousands of results, I think you should be okay.
Yeah, no, they're always paginated. So the most you can pick is 100 per page, and that seems to work pretty quick. And you can within list shifters, quite clever. You can tell it to prefetch pages either side. So although I'll say load 100. In the background, it will prefetch the next two pages.
Right. And that, which is smart.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yep. I think it's the same approach, just doing that merge and then grabbing the filtering down so that you're comparing the right things to each other.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool. All right. That was it from me. Thank you.
Awesome. Dinko, your turn again.
Sure, if you have time. Yeah, let me share my screen again then.
Of course.
All right. Well,
Oh, did you see Elon bought part of Twitter?
Yeah, I saw that today. Yeah.
Bought part of Twitter?
Yeah.
He bought-
9.something% or something.
Yep, $3 billion.
Yeah, drop in the ocean for him, isn't it?
Yep, he's now the largest shareholder in Twitter.
Yeah.
So I had read something where he was going to start his own thing, or it was rumored. So he just decided to buy part of.
Well, he put it up
Twitter.
on. He put up on his Twitter feed saying, "Vote on this. Do you think Twitter takes free speech seriously? Vote responsibly because changes will be made, or should someone start a new one?" And most people said that I think they didn't think it took free speech seriously. So he's bought. I think the reason why he's done it is because he'll get some kind of board seat or some kind of voting rights for it, and he wants to shape the way Twitter allowed free speech on the platform.
Got it. Cool. All right. I can see your screen now.
all right. I did have a question about the these what do you call them?
Daytime pickers?
Daytime pickers, yeah, they do not keep the current time of the browser. Neither does the bubble one. These two are bubble ones, and this is a zero code air, date, and time picker. And neither of them keep the time, actually.
Bubble doesn't live update time. It's really, really annoying. It live updates data, but it doesn't update time. I've had something on mine where I needed to switch to what it says depending on the time of the day, and it doesn't update. It's a pain in the arse.
And that's quite a problem, actually, because once, for example, this one should show in red here once the finish time has expired past the past the finish time. However, they need to refresh the page in order to see this because the date and time picker does not keep up the time with the browser's time.
Okay, so tell me, can you talk me through the issue again? So the person has this page up and running as the time is going past, and then once the certain time is passed, that's when you needed to show in red.
Right. So, for example, on the design, one second, there is a delete button here. And then the delete button should kick in when the finish time is past the dispatch's finish time. However, since the date does not update, it has no connection to. It doesn't know when that is. If the page was left untouched or unrefreshed.
So I'm just asking, like, so I get clear on what the user experience and what you're storing in your database versus are being stored on the inputs temporarily while the user is on the page. So they create the dispatch. The dispatch has a start time and an end time.
Yes.
And then they have this page up and running while it's happening. And then after it is over, once we're past the end time, that's when they should see the delete dispatch button.
Yes, so they should see the delete dispatch button, and also the trucks that have been dispatched through a API workflow. They come back at the finish time so that they would be able to be dispatched again. However, if because this does not keep the time, the page needs to be refreshed in order to have the new time on the date and time picker.
Okay, so is the finish time sort of like up in the air? We don't know when it's going to finish
We do
until it's
know,
finished?
when it's finished because there is a API workflow that changes the status of the truck
Okay.
to available again, and then once at that time, at finish time, it'll do this at finish time. However, and it does this at finish time. However, the page itself is still on the old time. So when it compares it to, it's still, how should I say?
I understand that it's not updating automatically. Because you're referencing right now, you're referencing the input, right? So something about the dependency here that you're showing is
Right.
referencing the input, and the input is not updating in real time. So, but the current date and time is what you have access to, and that is always up to date, right? So if we make the dependencies that you're talking about based on the current date and time and matching that to something in the database, you can automatically flip that delete dispatch to show on the page once you're past the finish time. So if you go to your editor and go to that button.
Okay.
And the conditional. So when parent groups dispatch finish time, parent groups dispatch finish time is less than current date and time, this element is visible. And you're saying that's not updating automatically?
No, it's not updating because then this time is still, the finish time here is not updating in the bubble date and time picker. Yeah.
I don't understand. But we're not, but that reference, what's in the date and time picker is not the reference here on that button. It's the parent, so the parent group's dispatch finish time that's not referencing an input, right? That's referencing something in the database, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
This is referencing a dispatch at a record, a finish time dispatch record of this cell. Maybe let's make another dispatch and I'll see. So we'll make it for, we just missed the 145 mark. Well, you'll have to be at 2.
That's fine. We can.
So, all right. Finish time 2, right? So this is current now. The finish time is here at 2 p.m. now, right? Which is in the record. So this is reference. This is coming now out of the record because we've saved it. Now, if we left this page as is, this delete button would not work because this time and as well as the zero codes, air dates and time picker, they do not change like every second. They do not update. So before, if we don't do anything unless at 2 o'clock, if we refresh the page, this will stay the same. Unless the page is refreshed and the truck number 123 will not come back to be dispatched again. So it is.
So you have the like backend workflows that are running at the finish time anyway. Why don't we add a field on the record that says like delete with a question mark and make it a Boolean value. And we started at no, and then when you run those workflows, because the finish time has happened, we'll flip it to yes, and then we'll show that button when that value is yes.
Yes, I've done that also for in case I've had to do this on the record in case when this finish time changes. So a lot of times the dispatcher will change this finish time in the edit button. So once it changes, there is a Boolean value of yes and no, which will stop the API workflow from running. Basically, at that time, it will switch it to whatever time has been allocated here. However, if the page is not refreshed in the background, it will work, but it will not work on the front page on the display.
Well, let me show you what I'm thinking. Let's see here.
All right.
If I go to my page here and UI changes.
I think it's the same issue that I had with the good morning, good afternoon, good evening thing on the page where it wouldn't update the time change. And the only way we could get it to work was just by running. Well, it would work for me, but it wouldn't work for you because I just run a workflow every hour that updates the current date and time saved in the database, but probably wouldn't work for you because you wouldn't want to keep running a workflow every second to.
Yeah, well, the other thing is I was thinking running a workflow every second, but that'd be a lot of...
Exactly, yeah. Like once an hour is fine, but every second just going to the capacity.
The capacity would... And then there's also for two of the date and time pickers, and the third, the zero code one as well. So it'd be 3 of them running at the same time every second.
Did anybody see that? That was bizarre.
Yeah.
Why is it making a blank button that I can't read?
Friday, I had huge issues whole night long, and then I was too tired. I left it, and then it fixed by itself. There were no more issues in the editor. I don't know if somebody was doing something on the other side on Bubble or maybe on the Chrome editor. I'm not sure. It was just weird. I don't know if you guys have experience.
The issues. So I take the issues with a grain of salt in the sense of like if like I look at them, and if they are actually issues, I will fix them. And if it's like I don't know, like this was fine before, and it's just telling me there's an issue, yeah. I hold off on it. So, and there we go. I was like, why is this making buttons that I can't read? That's so bizarre. Okay, so here's a button. And I want to make this not visible on page load. Okay. And then in my data here, I'll call it a dispatch. Right. And when my dispatch, the field name will be delete question mark, and then yes, no here. Okay. And then I'm going to just name this delete, and my capital letters are back, much to John's delight. All right, and then the conditional here will be, we'll just make this page here, type of content will be dispatch, and this will be when current page dispatch delete is yes, this element is visible, right? And so, and then on page load, we'll set this page here. Navigate, go to page. Page will be here. Do a search for dispatch. First item, only when current page dispatch is empty. That way it'll load one. So I'm going to come to my app data here, and I'm going to make a dispatch. And right now the dispatch delete is no.
Yeah.
All right. And so if I preview this, I shouldn't see a button. It disappeared because I have it, I think, conditional here. Have it not visible on page load and visible when this is yes. Okay, so that worked. It shouldn't have flashed on the page, but we'll forgive Bubble this time.
It usually always does, actually, for me.
Does it?
Yeah,
It's not supposed to.
most of the time.
It.
It's getting better, I noticed that. Not all the time now, but yeah.
Okay, so here's the page. It's not visible on the page. I'm going to go to the data. I'm going to go to my app data here, and I'm going to flip this to yes. And then it shows up immediately. And I didn't have to refresh the page to get it to show. So if you schedule a backend workflow that at the end time will flip that field to yes, then that button will show.
Okay, I guess.
And you won't have to refresh the page.
Yeah, I might have to be able to do it through the original. Actually, let me share my screen. I'll show you what I have already, and I might just include the button perhaps within it, but we'll still have a problem with the trucks coming back, I believe.
Well, I mean, you can make almost anything you want dependent on that field, that yes or no, and you just flip that switch at the end time.
Right. Okay.
You might have to, if you're allowing the user to change the end times, then you might have to reset a workflow, right? So that can get a little tricky to manage, but we can work that out as well.
Yes, the user does have the ability to change and edit the dispatch. That's the problem, and that's why I do have that Boolean field. So when they edit the dispatch or when they make changes to that dispatch, it has to cancel the original API workflows that were already set for a certain time.
Right. Yeah. And so you would just have to do the same thing with the workflow to flip that field.
So, but I could do it on the same, I believe, on the same Boolean value, right?
You could.
Yeah, I'm thinking of that maybe when that's because I do have that Boolean field already, so I might be able to incorporate the delete and the finish time in the repeating group as well to turn to red.
And you can refresh the page automatically for them as well at a certain time.
In the workflow, right? Or
yes. Yep. So you can do that Boolean, and then you can do a do when.
Yeah.
So do when condition is true. You have things every 15 minutes. Right. So you could every 15 minutes you could refresh it. Like you have some options here in terms of making things happen.
Yeah. That's just sure. That's adding another workflow and stuff. That I was thinking maybe there is. Are you aware of any other date and time picker that would keep the date and time? I did look in the forums, and there's someone has been using they put the code in it and it works for them. However, it's a little bit complex for me to.
It's not a date and time picker issue though. It's a bubble on the browser issue. Like it's not that the date and time picker doesn't know what time it is. It's the bubble doesn't know what time it is without doing an action to get the time.
Oh, is that right? Okay. I thought it was the date and time pickers.
No, it's not. It's not the picker.
Oh, I see.
So if you put the date and time picker on the page and set it to, if you put it and you create, say, a field in your database called current date and time, right. And then you had a button that every time you press it, it updates the current date and time, it would update the date and time picker. It's just the bubble won't automatically tell you what time it is over and over again. You have to actually do an action to get it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So this, yeah, I'm going to have to look into this a little bit more.
I've got to jump for a call. See you guys in a bit.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, Kelly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, let me look at these options too. For right now, I just need to solve this, and then once the multi drop downs are solved, this was the next project I wanted to tackle.
The next one. Yeah.
At least you give me some ideas, and I can probably see if any of them are going to work out. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're going to move into the
Thank you.
after hours section of office hours, so nobody go anywhere. We will be back next time. If you would like to join us in after hours, where we share things that maybe shouldn't be broadcast to the rest of the world, you have to become a member. So please go to pronocoders.com and sign up as a developer member and come in and meet us and show us what you're building and see how we can help.